What's going on, all you Minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition. And join me today as I go over your top 50 most wanted Marvel Omnibus. These are new Omnis, not reprints. So, stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. Before getting started, a big thank you to Tigereyes for letting me read the results of this poll. He's been doing this poll for quite a number of years over in the Marvel Masterworks forum, and I think last year is when he reached out and asked if I wanted to read the results. So these are your top 50 that you all voted for. This is not like my list. So these are brand new Omnis. It was part of the Marvel Secret Ballot. You can just email him pretty much your top 10 choices, and he puts a huge database together and then sends the results my way. Now, these could be future volumes of existing Omnis or brand new series to kick it off. So it's going to be really fun to look at this to see how much has changed from last year. But before I go any further, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We do have a Patreon and a spread shop where you can buy our logos on stickers or t-shirts, whatever you want. It's a great way to support the channel. All of that is in the description below, as well as the description will have the top 50, the list here. So, let's count down. Let's go ahead and get started. Number 50, Ghost Rider, the 1990s era, the Danny Ketch era. And I can't believe it's so low. What, 50, man? This would have made my top 15, maybe even top 10 this year. Number 49, Wolverine, Omnibus Volume 4. So still more of that Larry Hama stuff. We'll have Mark Teixeira on artwork, eventually Dwayne Turner, and then, of course, Adam Kubert coming to join in on the fun. Number 48, X-Factor Volume 3. So this will be the era of, I assume this is Peter David's X-Factor, and it will be the X-Factor investigation, so some more of that goodness. Number 47, Road to Onslaught. Yeah, one we desperately need. That's one that will definitely plug that hole for that era and give us pretty much everything from X-Men #1 in oversized hardcover format all the way up until Onslaught, because then we need an Onslaught Aftermath. Number 46, this is ROM, so a Romnibus. Yeah, one can dream. That would be great. Space Knight, baby. Number 40... Oh, this is a tie. Oh, I'll be putting the ties in here. Jessica Jones, the new material. So it's post the... I assume this might be the Kelly Thompson run of Jessica Jones, or it could be the Pulse stuff that Bendis was still doing. Daredevil by Dennis O'Neill is number 45. That's a great run. One that doesn't get talked about often. Number 44, Thunderbolts Volume 3. So happy to see that on there. Number 43, Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 3. Number 42, X-Men Silver Age Volume 3, or one that I think I wanted to call it the Lost Years, because it will have all those missing issues of, because X-Men was canceled between the Silver Age Omnibus Volume 2 and Uncanny X-Men, but the X-Men still appeared in different series like Avengers or The Beast. You see his transformation into the Blue Hairy Beast. And I also wanted to put in, just to fill in those pages with X-Men The Hidden Years. Number 41, Old Man Logan. All right, I assume this is the kicking it off with Brian. I'm not mapping it, I'm sorry. Brian Michael Bendis and Jeff Lemire, I assume. Just assuming here. Number 40, Secret Wars. This is the Jonathan Hickman series from 2015. I guess you could put in all the Secret Wars, Battle World and stuff. It would make a big book, though. Marvel Team Up Volume 1, finally. Yes, love that series, and it rightly deserves to be in omnibus format. We've had it in Epic Collection, not that many volumes, though, and Marvel Masterworks. No, wait. Has Marvel Team Up hasn't been in Epic Collection. I'm thinking of Marvel 2-in-1. Still, we need it. Number 38, Punisher by Greg Rucka, absolutely. And you have that Marco Chiquetto artwork. That's where I first saw his art. Just fell in love with it. And now he is drawing Daredevil. Venom by Rick Remender. So it would be Venom Omnibus by Rick Remender. Absolutely. I think you would probably have to throw in some Cullen Bunn stuff in there to just fatten it up. Captain Marvel by Peter David. Bravo. Yes, sir. Some of the best stories of that cosmic saga that, everybody had forgotten about. And it's that side of Marvel that didn't really get the spotlight up until Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest. So I'm glad to see this on here. I'd love to see that. And the character of Legacy did come back. Well, it was in a one-shot. Generation X, absolutely. You have Chris Bachalo on artwork. You have some Tom Grumet on artwork when Chris Bachalo went to do Death. And all written by Scott Lobdell. Man, and this could be a great book. We do have epics coming out, so maybe that's a good sign. All I know is that some of the scans of the epics aren't the best, so I hope they clean up the scans for the Omnibus whenever that comes out. Submariner, Silver Age. There's some wishful thinking. When was the first? I think we had one epic of the Silver Age. Was that in 2019 of Submariner? Nothing else yet. Iron Man, the Micheline run, so continuing that next volume. Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Star Wars High Republic. Interesting that made it so far up the list. And yes, number 31, Amazing Spider-Man by Tom DeFalco. I'm just glad to see Tom DeFalco's name on here. I hope it's not the last time, but I agree. Absolutely. Indiana Jones. Now, it's interesting because people have asked me, what are the rights for Indiana Jones? Where do they lie? Because now that Disney owns, Star Wars and LucasArts, does that still compensate the Indiana Jones? I don't know. That is a good question. I know Dark Horse released a bunch of the Omnis, and those have been out of print. And those are the softcover Omnis, by the way. Number 29, Silver Surfer by Steve Englehart. We really need that. That's not the only Steve Englehart series I'd like to see collected in omnibus format. Number 28, New Avengers Volume 2. Dub it The Secret Invasion. I'm hoping that will happen with the TV show. They'll reprint Volume 1, and then instead of reprinting the Secret Invasion omnibus, they give us a New Avengers Volume 2 and just call it Secret Invasion. That would be great. Hey, more Avengers in 27 with Avengers Volume 5. Yes, a much needed omnibus. Civil War. I guess the whole Civil War event. Would that take 2 Omnis, though, with all the little miniseries and all the tie-ins? I guess it could be like House of M, honestly. I can see that wonderful artwork during this time. And was it Guggenheim that made Daredevil or Wolverine regenerate from a single cell? Well, that was ridiculous. But Humberto Ramos with his big neck, tiny head. That was one of the Civil War tie-ins. Daredevil. Now, this is an interesting Daredevil choice, and this is number 25 because this collects 292 to 342. So they did map that for me. They didn't know what to call it. I guess this would be the after Ann Nocenti leaves the book. I guess you could call it the Fall of the Kingpin, but then you have the Fall from Grace storyline in here. Phenomenal artwork. You have Lee Weeks and you have Scott McDaniel. I'm not sure what you would call it. Maybe Fall from Grace. Daredevil's all about falling and then coming back up. Number 24. Oh, awesome. I like this modern run. Moon Knight by Warren Ellis, Jeff Lemire, and I assume they put modern here, so it would also collect the Cullen Bunn era too. I would be all over that. You put the Max Bemis series in there. Man, Doctor Strange Volume 3, yes. The one that's missing, because we have Sorcerer Supreme 1, 2, and 3 collecting that complete series. We have the Silver Age 1 and 2. Now we need that one gap filler, and that would be great. There's Chris Claremont, Roger Stern, Steve Englehart, of course. Wow, Star Wars Poe. You guys really like that, huh? I haven't read a single issue of that. Poe, this is Poe Dameron, I assume. There were enough issues to collect into an omnibus. That's what's up. Number 21, Invincible Iron Man by Matt Fraction. This is one that I get asked about often because he had 2 oversized hardcovers, and then they discontinued the oversized hardcover lines of Iron Man by Matt Fraction. I remember the first one was dubbed an omnibus because it was so big, and websites like Barnes & Noble had it as Invincible Iron Man by Matt Fraction and Salvador La Roca omnibus. Number 20, X-Men, The Inferno Aftermath. I assume this is a way to collect Judgment Day, the X Factor issues that are missing that take us to Extinction Agenda. So could you really call it X-Men Inferno Aftermath, though? Because how many issues of X-Men would there be? Well, okay. Wait, I'm okay. What if you put Extinction Agenda in there and you also put Days of Future Present? I mean, you could do that. That could be a really cool way to collect that. And you could still call it X-Men. But then they might want to cash in on the fact that it's Extinction Agenda as the event. So we may have to change. We may have to change. Like, I have any say in any of this. Okay, let's keep going. Number 19. Yes, Captain America by Mark Gruenwald, who wrote 10 years of Captain America. I'm sure you could probably collect them in 4 omnis. 4 or 5. If you include all the miniseries. Yeah, absolutely. It's a much needed welcome run. Number 18. Fantastic Four Volume 5. So we just got Volume 4. When was that? Last year? No sign of Volume 5. No sign of any new Fantastic Four, really. So maybe it's time to show them some love again. Number 17, X-Force by, I assume this is Kyle and Yost. They just have Yost here. But yeah, I agree. Now, I've always said, how would you map this? And this goes back to something else here in a minute. So how would you map this? Because would you include what kicked it all off with, you know, the Denuncio and Phillips run of New Mutants that became eventually New X-Men, and then eventually that led into X-Force? Would you collect all that, or would you just jump straight into X-Force? Because something else kicks this off. Alpha Flight Volume 2, absolutely. Reprint that Volume 1. I know I'm not supposed to be talking about reprints, but that's the way I see it happening, though. Because, you know, a lot of people missed out on Alpha Flight. Reprint Alpha Flight, call it a Volume 1 instead of calling it by John Byrne. And then Volume 2 could be the Bill Mantlo era. Love it. Lady Deathstrike, Mignola, I love that. My brain immediately went to an X-Men related character. That's just the way I think. Forgive me. Number 15, X-Men Messiah Complex. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Would you throw in the Messiah trilogy into the X-Force mappings of Kyle and Yost, or would you just make it a Messiah trilogy of Messiah Complex? Oh my goodness, was it the Messiah War and then Second Coming? But because Ex Necrotia, like, it's such a big story, you would have to throw that in there somewhere. Number 14, one that I think will come eventually, but that is Immortal Hulk. And I say it will probably be 2 omnis, just to include the Gamma Core, like include all the one-shots and minis. Absolutely. One that I think will come eventually. Number 13, Avengers by Roger Stern. Another one that I'm surprised has not happened. Honestly, he told so many great stories and reimagine the lineup of Avengers as to who could be an Avenger. I love his era of Avengers. That was my childhood growing up. And then we have plenty of epics. So we know that they could just put them together. It'd be great. Number 12, Incredible Hulk, the Silver Age Volume 2. So people really, that is up there. That is up there. I mean, I guess it really depends on the sales of Volume 1, but this is your most wanted, so it'd be great if they announced that. Number 11, Spectacular Spider-Man by J.M. Dematteis. Agreed. We are going to get our very first Spectacular Spider-Man, Volume 1 coming out later this year. I don't know if it's going to be released in chronological order, or if they can jump around like they did with other series, but it'd be awesome to have J.M. Dematteis. That's one of my wife's, the Astonishing Melanie's, favorite era of Spider-Man, because that was her childhood of Spider-Man. Number 10, speaking of Spider-Man, the Alien Saga. We've had 2 pre-epics, fat trade paperbacks of that they can just put together and just call it the Alien Saga. The Alien Costume Saga, sorry, not just Alien Saga. It's a little confusing. He doesn't fight xenomorphs. But it's the appearance. You can even cash in on Venom and just call it the pre-Venom era, or the costume that will become Venom. That sounds like a ridiculous title. But then again, if you think about it, he's kind of a ridiculous villain. He's a costume that became sentient and took over Eddie Brock. Anyway, I'm in for that. That's it. Those are fun stories. And again, you have Tom DeFalco writing a lot of that stuff. All right, number 9, more Spidey, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6. Now, is there enough material for Spider-Man to have 2 omnis between 5 and Roger Stern's run? I mean, 6 would have to be a pretty big book. what would you call it? Return of the Burglar. Man, I think I mapped it out at one time, and I want to say I had it as 2 books, just because one book with all the annuals and everything was just huge. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do. Number 8, Superior Spider-Man, one that I get asked about so often, and I always say, but don't you want a big-time omnibus first to take us there to Superior Spider-Man? Why do you want to start it the best story? It's like starting I don't know, whatever you all think. To me, Fall of the Mutants is my favorite X-Men crossover. It's like starting X-Men with Fall of the Mutants, and then everything else is leading there or not just as good. Just my 2 cents on that, but I know it's one that a lot of people wanted. I was surprised it never came. That's why I went and bought the oversized hardcovers, because of my rule that after, 2 years, if I don't see a Son of an Omnibus, I'm going to get the oversized hardcovers. That used to be my rule. Things have changed dramatically, though. Number 7, X-Men by Mike Carey. Absolutely. Probably call it, well, no, it started off as X-Men. You can just call it X-Men by Mike Carey. We'll probably take 2 volumes of this, because X-Men became X-Men Legacy. Underrated series with a bunch of characters that he introduced that were still being used by Jonathan Hickman during his Hoxpox days. So I'm glad that made it up so high. It's one of my most wanted X-Men Omnis. Amazing Spider-Man, Brand New Day. There it is. Number 6. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great era for new readers. And despite of how people feel about One More Day, it did, freshen up the character and made him more accessible to people that have never read Spider-Man. And some, like every other story with a brain trust, some of the stories were ups and downs. But yeah, I'm in. I agree with that one. Number 5, holy moly, this is high up there. Daredevil Silver Age Volume 2. That and Hulk were the biggest surprises for me here. Maybe because I didn't have them on my top 10. But those surprised me that made it up this high. Number 4, Amazing Spider-Man by Micheline and Bagley. Yes, completely agree with that. Now, you couldn't double dip, so you could not include Maximum Carnage. Maximum Carnage is collected in Spider-Man vs. Venom entirety. All of it. Oversized format. But you could include his issues of the first appearance of Carnage. So, yeah, and then take us all the way to the Clone Saga Part 1. I agree with this. I hate to make a cut, but to save pages and to put in the annuals and everything else, because it's already a huge book, you would have to cut out all, including the issues of Amazing Spider-Man, kind of like what they did with X-Men by Claremont and Jim Lee. Volumes 1 and 2 did not include Extinction Agenda. So I would have to cut me, again, making calls like that. Just saying, to save some room for other books. Number 3, holy crap, really? Star Wars. This is the first time I'm reading this, by the way. Star Wars Volume 2. So this is the Gillen series. After Jason Aaron left the book, we had it reprinted. We're getting the Darth Vader book reprinted. So, wow, I didn't see this being so high. I didn't see this many people wanting it, but that's awesome. Star Wars, yeah, this would be issues 38 through 75 of this particular era. Yeah, that's a good call. Number 2, Daredevil by Ann Nocenti. That and the Dematteis one, I think, go almost hand in hand. Dematteis made it to top 11. So glad to see Ann Nocenti's run on Daredevil get a lot of love. And honestly, it's probably been a long time coming, because she's up there with one of the greats. I know her run is very divisive, but I've always shared this story that it wasn't until I joined the internet that I found out that people did not like her run. I don't know why, but I thought it was a fun take, even though that dark elements in it too. But I thought it was a fun take on Daredevil. It was a lot different than Frank Miller's run, and I think that's what probably people don't like about it, that it's not dark and gritty like Frank Miller. But to me, she's one of the best writers on that whole run. And of course, number 1 again this year, Uncanny X-Men Volume 5. When do I see that coming? Maybe in the 60th anniversary of X-Men, 2023. 60 years? It feels so weird to say that. 60. I still remember the 20-year anniversary marking. I'm sure some of y'all remember 10-year anniversary, or of course, X-Men was canceled during its 10th year anniversary. So maybe you don't remember. But I'm sure some of you all may even remember pulling the books off, the stands or getting them when you were kids. I don't know. But that's the list when and if these books get announced. Maybe I should have said if and when. If and when these books get announced, check out our sponsors. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. If you live in Europe and are interested in pre-ordering or purchasing Omnis, then you should definitely check out Wald's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices for Marvel and DC big books within the EU. Flat shipping of €9.90 for EU countries, extremely careful and sturdy packaging, emails are answered within 24 hours, and they have a superb selection of new releases and out-of-print books on their website. Just head over to waltzcomicshop.com for more great deals and rare titles. And for a limited time, you can use the code Near Mint Condition, all one word, at the checkout for free shipping to all EU countries with your first order. Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for Omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Again, thank you to Tigereyes for giving me access to this list. Thank you all that voted. Every year they do this, so next year, if you didn't take part in it this year, next year have your voices heard. I usually announce it about a week or so before the polls close. So this is a lot different than our reprint poll. And speaking of reprint poll, the most wanted Marvel Epic reprints list will be out tomorrow for those of you that have been asking. Everyone smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, ring that bell for notifications. Thank you all for watching. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.